Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to take an epic, massive garden tour of all the gardens here at Creekside Nursery and have some fun. We're going to share our messes and successes with you. So get ready for a beautiful garden tour because end of June in North Carolina is when the garden is just absolutely gorgeous. So what we're going to do is start here with this new bed. Y'all, this garden is not even a year old. We call this affectionately the umbrella pine bed because it has the Japanese black umbrella pine in here, and the entire garden is doing so well. The pine is loving life. This is a full sun garden, not on irrigation. We planted this bed last summer, early fall, because of the front yard renovation. And this pine has absolutely taken off and grown a good bit. So we love this pine. It is a unique specimen. And then everything else in here is going to be, we have a couple of more shrubs. We have the butterfly candy, the little raspberry. Y'all, look at this gorgeous plant. I am in love. These are such beautiful, nice, tight, compact butterfly bushes, completely flushed out. You were with me late winter when I was in here, and I basically sheared it to the ground. And look at all of this beautiful growth. I'm gonna let Jerry zoom in on a bloom so that you can see how gorgeous that flower is. It is just beautiful. We're out here early in the morning, so the pollinators are just waking up. But when we pair it with the gumfrina next to it, you've got the blue salvia, the nephofia is starting to bloom. That is the poco butter brickle. Brings in a little bit of yellow. I wanted color, I wanted pollinators, I wanted texture and movement, and that is what we have got in this garden. We also have the azaleas around up front bordering it. This is the Perfecto Mundo double white, and this gives us evergreen interest. Of course, the flowers in the spring, a little bit in the summer, and then the fall. Just really ties in this whole bed. We also have those same azaleas across. And then you're going to notice that we have got this is chameleon schizachyrium. This was a relatively new find for me late last summer. This is such an amazing grass. If you ever come across chameleon schizachyrium, grab it. We've got it in this bed, and then at the front, beautiful, variegated. It's called chameleon because it changes colors. It's green, it's got white. It'll take on some of like the purpley pink hues to it. Beautiful. So this bed is an absolute massive success, and then we're going to move around up front to the front of this bed because up here we've got a whole nother little selection of things going on. Kind of transitioning, right? So we've got the flock of flamingos. It is throughout this bed. This one right now is probably the one that's performing the most as far as that height to it. You've got that beautiful variegated bloom on it. Great penstemon. And then we have the peach pearls agastache. Y'all, this thing is blowing me away. It is a Creekside champion for a reason. This agastache, as you can see, is going to be more wide than it is tall. Typically, agastache can get really tall. You can see we've already got some pollinators out here this morning. But this peach color with the white of, this is the tiny quickfire. I had to think for a second. We got a lot of hydrangeas going on. Tiny quickfire. So you've got the peach, the white, the pink, the blue. Oh, all of it together is gorgeous. And then of course the daylilies are in full bloom. Don't ask me what variety these are, y'all. I don't know. This is just your common yellow daylily. We planted these right when we moved in our house as a way to help with the erosion. And my mama had these. We took little tiny starts, we divided the heck out of them, and then there you go. So just a beautiful classic yellow daylily, and this is when they are in all of their glory. There you go. And then of course the front. So with that renovation that we were talking about with the umbrella pine bed, that was when we completely redid our front and our side, and everything is doing really well. Again, this bed is not on irrigation. This whole section that we're talking about is not on irrigation. The grass does have irrigation, but honestly, we haven't been running it. Everything is doing well. The azaleas could probably use a little extra water. We've been going through some heat waves, but they could use a little extra water. We've got lemon coral sedum dotted throughout all the way around. This is the Perfecto Mundo pink carpet, nice and short and compact, double soft pink bloom on it. And so the azaleas go from here, of course, all the way around the side of the house, as does that lemon coral sedum. So we're tying in all of that together all the way around. And then the artist blue ageratum, love it. So this is a great annual, very heat tolerant, I would even dare say drought tolerant. There are 2 plants here, so 2 plants are planted together to give you that kind of that big pop. And so just dotted those throughout all the way. When we first planted them, I had to really kind of be on top of it as far as watering them. Now they seem to be nice and established, and they're doing really, really well. So notice the chameleon grass again. So we've got it here, and on the other end, all of the abelias. So this is the Mucho Gusto abelia, really good, great evergreen, and then the Firelight Tidbits. So this side of the house gets a little bit more sun, right? So it gets the sun first as opposed to the other end, which also has the tidbits. And you can see that these guys are about to erupt in all of their glory. Absolutely gorgeous. And then we did go ahead, so your tidbit is going to be nice and short and tight and compact. Very, very easy, panicle, full sun hydrangea. Love it. I mean, it's just as easy as can be. And then we put in some of the annuals, just dotting them in. These are new introductions from Proven Winners for 2027. So this was kind of a little bit of our test spot. Loving this lantana. It's gonna be a nice, compact, basically pure white, has a little bit of yellow in the bloom, and it is doing really, really well. These poor, these Nemesias right here, these guys are struggling, and I think it's the heat, right? Because they're not on consistent moisture, like it's not on irrigation. I'm putting them to the test. This is why I'm testing them. So next year I can tell you this is what works and what you need to do. So they're on the struggle bus right now. Messes and successes, my friends. And then again, repeating that chameleon grass right here. And I really think it's interesting that these are my smaller chameleon grasses, because this is on the slope a little bit. And then of course with the construction of doing the pavers, there's more rock in the soil. So I don't think they retain as much moisture as the other chameleons. And so they're a little bit on the smaller side. So you know what, it is what it is, but I also make sure that I come over here and water these intentionally, whereas the other ones, I just let them go. And then moving on down, so we've got Little Taffy. So Little Taffy is still that butterfly candy butterfly bush, but you can see it's a much lighter pink, right? So repeating those butterfly bushes throughout the gardens, nice, tight, compact, but we're using the different colors. And then this bed, y'all, this is part of that renovation, not even a year old, and could not be happier with this space. Again, not on irrigation, so I do have to hand water it if it needs it. But I mean, when we just come through here, like my idea was this was color and texture, year-round interest. Of course, in the summer is when it's really at its peak. So you've got the tiny tough stuff. This is that mountain hydrangea, a lace cap, much more sun tolerant because these do get some afternoon sun, as is the Everillo Carex. Everillo is going to be for your shade to part sun garden, but mixing them with those dark, tiny tough stuffs, beautiful. And then the Viking XL begonia, y'all, I adore this plant. It is living up to its name. In the container, again, I have to hand water it. but it is doing so well, and it brings that nice dark moodiness, complete color contrast. Doing really well. I mean, everything in here has done magnificently well. I'm just so pleased with it. And even the Durvilla. So this is Kodiak orange. So I planted this as a test because North Carolina, a zone 8A. Kodiak Durvillas are only hardy up to a zone 7. We're in the southeast, which is in a zone 8, which is very different. And so I said, well, let's just put it here so it gets morning sun, but it's in the shade in the afternoon. And y'all, clearly she's doing just fine. So she's put on a ton of growth. She is blooming, and it's called Kodiak orange because the new growth is orange. I'm gonna see if I can hold this. It's a very windy day here. But all of your Kodiaks are going to do those yellow blooms. The pollinators love this plant. They are covering it when the sun comes out. And then I started thinking, I was like, my gosh, this thing is like getting awful big on me. Well, that's my fault, because then I did some research and I thought that your Durvillas bloomed on old wood. No, they don't. They bloom on new wood. So I should have pruned it in late winter just to shape it up. I did not, because I was misinformed in my brain. And so that's one reason why she's a little wild and woolly right here. So next winter, I will definitely go ahead and prune her back, or maybe even this fall. But Kodiaks, if you're in a zone warmer than what you think, go ahead and test it, because gardening is just one big science experiment, and sometimes you have great successes. Not all the time, but sometimes you do. And just coming on through. So we've got the Skyview hydrangeas. Clearly they decided to go pink this year, but we love these because they're a continuous bloomer. So you can see where we had those older blooms, and then I've got new buds coming out. These do get probably a little bit more sun than they would like in my North Carolina garden, but they're doing fine. So we're just gonna leave them alone and go with it. And then bringing in, of course, my favorite, I had to have this plant, is that dwarf Colorado blue spruce. Gorgeous evergreen, and just brings a whole different color and texture to the garden. You've got the Aurelia Sun King behind it with that bright chartreuse color. This is Invincible Wee White, and so a nice smooth hydrangea, and then the frescoes. So Fairy Trail Fresco, they too were pink this year, but you can see how they're aging to kind of that nice, kind of that, I don't know, like a mauvey color, but we've also got tons of new growth on them. So very, very happy about that. And then, of course, one of my favorite evergreen shrubs for the South is Paisley Pup. Paisley Pup Leucothea, a native shrub, putting on tons of new growth as well. And just everything is just looking great. So I just have to keep it watered on those days where we get really hot, because again, no irrigation. It gets sun early in the morning till about different parts of it will transition. So I used to always say this was a shade garden, and parts of it still are very shady, but I think it's more of a part sun garden. Shall we say that? I guess so. All right, moving all across the driveway, these are the Surefire Cherry Cordial Begonias, a double row of them, nice long mass planting. They are doing well, bringing again that dark color, beautiful chocolate, near black foliage with those red blooms. Beautiful. It's a double row. They're just going to continue to get bigger and bigger as the season progresses. We've got the purple fountain grass there on the end for some interest. So really happy with how these guys are performing. The Japanese beetles have arrived to our gardens, but that's the great thing about begonias. The Japanese beetles do not like them. So we don't have to worry about aphids, Japanese beetles, budworms, any kind of caterpillars. That's why I love begonias so much, is because they're such great, easy, but high-performing plants. And then you just take kind of a broad look down the garden. It's lush. It's beautiful. It is full of gorgeous color, using that Supertunia Mini Vista hot pink throughout the entire space, so it ties everything in together. So with the cottage garden here, specifically kind of in this area, this is where I'm really focusing on supporting my butterfly population. So whether that's the monarchs with the milkweed, we've got milkweed throughout here. We've got plants that are attracting the butterflies and the pollinators to our garden. So this is the butterfly candy, little grape, right? Beautiful, deep purple blooms on them. These guys are just beautiful. So we've got Rudbeckia, we've got Echinacea, we've got Lantana. And then I've also, because we have a ton of swallowtails. Monarchs can be hit or miss for us sometimes, but the swallowtails we have a ton of. And so I have created a little bit of like a a swallowed butterfly swoosh right here. So all of these plants are going to be great food sources for the swallowtail caterpillars. So starting back here, I just planted some dill. So I've got 3 dills through here. The cages are where I have the Italian parsley. I started that from seed, so I'm trying to keep 1, the dog out, and 2, the bunnies out. So we've got that throughout here. And then we have golden Alexander. That's what this is right here. This is another host plant for those swallowtail caterpillars. They will devour these plants. So it starts and goes all the way up. And so once the swallowtails come, as far as laying their eggs and those little baby caterpillars, typically that's like the end of the summer for us is when that happens. And then y'all, how cute is this? So this is a little lucky pot of gold lantana. It is a Southern Living Plant Collection lantana, nice, tight, and compact, like 10 to 12 inches tall. And because it's pot of gold, of course, I had to put it in a pot. So we've got that pot of gold lantana right here. I did have yellow superbells here. So we still have the same color, but we're transitioning from my cool weather plants into my hot weather plants. This lantana will go all the way through, oh gosh, November at least, until that hard freeze. So it is a cutie patootie for sure. And then, yeah, I mean, everything here is doing well. We were at the beach. Our family always takes a beach vacation. And while we were gone, we evidently had some pretty good thunderstorms with some wind. So it did lay down my Stokes aster, which, you know, it's kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. And on these windy days like this, you can't control the wind, my friend. So they will open up and be that beautiful kind of that blue purple flower throughout the day. Gorgeous. There you go. But it's just kind of laying down on my coreopsis and things like that. But there you go. The, yeah, just color repeating throughout this entire space right here. I do battle bunnies. So the rabbits are living their best life in my garden. And so if you see cages on things, that is because those are the plants that the rabbits do enjoy partaking of. And then a quick update up here on the potager garden, doing well. We've got the green beans, they are growing. We've got the marigolds, we've got some buds on those guys, the tomatoes, the parsley, of course repeated that same lantana with the volvulus. So just having some fun in here with that combination of our vegetables, our herbs, and then our flowers. So all of these guys are doing quite well. Oh, look, Jerry, come here. It's our first one. Look at this. I was just up here yesterday and it was not here. Can you see our very first baby green bean? There we go. They're so stinking cute. I love it. So these are provider green beans. So they're a bush bean. They're not like they don't climb. So I love a bush bean as opposed to like a climber. So everything doing well here except for the daggum Japanese beetles. I tell you, y'all, I tried a new treatment to treat the beetles. Clearly it's not working. So they're having fun on the roses, so we'll have to figure out something else to get rid of those beetles. But there you go. It is what it is, my friends. All right, do we want to move up to the chicken coop right quick?
Yep.
Let's go to the chicken coop. All right, let's make our way up to the chicken coop. So we did this the year before, so this would be 2 years ago now. And y'all, the creeping Jenny, she is loving life. Now, some people may get annoyed with creeping Jenny. I absolutely enjoy it because it is covering this hill and I have zero erosion. So there you go. That's the great thing about gardening is we all get to choose what we put in our gardens, right? You were with me when we planted this aqua pot. It's got some super bells in here, some osteos. It had a sunflower. When your plants start to look like this, and your osteos especially are long and leggy like this is a sign that says I'm not getting enough sun. So this spot, one, what you could do is move the pot to a different space so that it can get the full sun, or replant it with more shade tolerant plants. I'll probably just go ahead and replant it with some more shade tolerant plants. That's really one of the only, I would say, quote, messes in here. This bed, again, so dry shade, no irrigation. The water is either it rains or I'll water it, and everybody is doing really, really well. This has been a labor of love for probably 3 or 4 years. We had multiple trees go down here. When we first did this bed, I was not able to get in this garden for a solid year, and so now I've been able to be in here. It's doing well. Mimi and I have, of course, worked on this bed quite a lot together. To give you some quick little updates, this is the High Five Green Fingers Thatsia from Proven Winner Color Choice Shrubs. We were together when we planted it, and look at all of that new growth. And look at that leaf. Huge, right? So massive, but beautiful growth on it. Again, not on irrigation. I do have to come in here and water, and I've noticed that I have really certain dry spots. I know that sounds odd. Be like, well, of course you do. But this area right here, and again, messes and successes. Whatever happens in right here stays very dry. So I've got a Fairy Trail Bride, and then I have a Jacob Hellebore. If anything's going to be dry, it's these two. Whatever happens right here is super dry. And so we have some epimedium through here. This is another Thatsia doing really well. But it's just those guys right there, they struggle. And clearly my Broalia that I've missed that. So yeah, she's a little crispy. Maybe we'll give her some water here in a minute. Here you go. But as we come on through, I mean, there you go. This was also the new intro that you saw me plant. This is the Let's Dance Hot Stepper hydrangea from Proven Winners, a new introduction. Look at her, doing super, super good. It was a 1 gallon. It was a small 1 gallon when I planted it, and doing really well. Knowing that this tends to be a dry area, I put all of my hostas in containers. Clearly, they're doing great. I did a little red, white, and blue container for the July 4th for the shade. It is doing really well. So it's got the Broalia, a red begonia, and then there is a white caladium in there. It's just taking its little sweet little time to come out. And so I was thinking, you know, of course, with this being the 250th birthday of our country, I was like, you know, well, let's just see for a container for the shade. And then when we kind of tweaked this bed in the spring, you know, Jackson brought us in some stumps, put in those little mini hostas right there. They're doing good. I mean, they're hanging on. It's nothing spectacular, but it's just a little area that's a little fun whimsy that we can add to and tweak as the years go by, for sure. And then we were talking about how we planted the some of the trial annuals from some different plant breeders, and then this one I told you I was so excited about. I have high hopes for this, and it has not disappointed yet. Look at this begonia. Let me get the tag out. This is the Eye Candy XL Deep Yellow Begonia, and this is from Syngenta. Really, really happy with this. That soil is really dry in there. It needs water, but you would never know looking at the plant. So this is fun. So we'll see how she does throughout the entire rest of the summer, and you never know, could come be available as a Creekside champion. And then the girls have not been fed this morning, so they're gonna probably follow us as we go around. And then a quick little update here across the front. Now, I have not done anything, y'all, and I need to come in here and do a little tweaking, probably a little pruning, but my goodness, this has filled in so nicely. The Rockin' Blue Suede Shoes Salvia, we've got a bumblebee up here, a little honeybee, so the honeybees love it. Of course, the hummingbirds love it, all the good things. This is why either you love or don't love the Vista petunias, because not only do they spread, but they get some height to them. So it really fills in a space, but sometimes they can get a little, you know, a little tall. So there is a butterfly candy buddleia in there. It's kind of hard to see because of course the petunias are taking over. And then Mesa Successes, I had the sunflowers in there, the reblooming sunflowers, the Incrediballs. They didn't make it. So either it was because lack of water, because no irrigation right here, but that's okay. We're not missing them. They're doing well. Now, another Messes and Successes. If you're a follower of Creekside, then you know the struggles, shall we say, that I have with El Nino Chatalpa. This is a great plant. It's not the plant's fault. This is a great plant, fast-growing shrub. It has just a couple of little blooms still left on it. It bloomed nice and early for me this year. It's beautiful. This is my love-hate relationship with it. I'm gonna let Jerry get in here. Do you see all those little black things hanging? This is a host plant for a moth and a caterpillar. And I know that the Lord is way smarter than I am, and He has a plan, but I have not quite figured out or determined what the benefit of these caterpillars and the moth that they will turn into that they play. I know that there is a role, I just haven't figured it out yet. But if I do not treat them, then they will literally, look at this right here, they completely strip the entire tree shrub. So when we were on vacation, clearly they started here. I came on like Sunday and I could hear them munching and the poop falling. So I got out my BT spray and sprayed them. So BT works great with the caterpillars. It is a great organic solution to get rid of the caterpillars, does not harm anything else. So there you go. So she was absolutely spectacular until the caterpillars got a hold of her, but thanks to my BT spray, we took care of it. Now, let's come over here to this corner right quick because I want to show you an update on this space. This is, of course, we talked about, you were with us when we planted this as a trial bed. You were with us when we planted these trial plants. They're singles as far as the annuals go, so we're testing them out. So far, I have really been quite happy with them. We're also learning what is rabbit resistant and what is not. But you've got petunias in here. You've got calibrachoas and dahlias and lantana. There's a mandevilla. There's all sorts of things. This is one of the new Sunfinity sunflowers. Really impressed with how well it is branching. I have done nothing to these guys. When I say nothing, I mean nothing. But yeah, so having this little pocket of those beautiful trial plants to see how everybody is doing mixed in with the plants that are already here. So of course we've got daylilies, we've got Rose of Sharon, we've got the purple cone flowers, this is the lilac cascade. It's a cascade, I'm trying to remember which one. Obviously it's the purple one. Polly Petite, I do know that one. Polly Petite, look how cute she is. Nice, tight, compact Rose of Sharon, doing well. And then the thing is, I do have rabbits like we're talking about. Rabbits do not like alliums. So I've got a nice selection of alliums through here and you can see that they have left them alone. So thank goodness for that. All right, let's move to the backyard. So as we make our way through the backyard, I wanted to give you an update on this back side of the Emperor One bed. In the front, we had peach pearls. Down here, we have pink pearls. Same as sister, Agastache, nice soft pink, Same habit, wider than tall. Have it with the new spider's wort. So we have that nice, rich, deep purple blooms on it, intermingled with the pink. Gorgeous. And then this is like another example of why we love begonias. This is one surefire white begonia in each of these containers. Your surefires can do sun or shade, so this is perfect because they get a little bit of everything in this bed as far as sun conditions, and my goodness, they are not disappointing. And then as we make our way around the hydrangeas, these are all pufferfish that we go around here. They too are getting ready to just absolutely explode in those gorgeous white, really open, airy blooms on them. And then it'll be absolutely stunning. So we can, let's do this. Let's focus on this side first. So the forest pansy bed, right? Talked about this many times. Update on the containers. My gosh, they are all doing so well. Mimi and I had the most fun kind of arranging this and figuring it out. So putting in these terracotta pots with various, a lot of these are going to be more either annuals or houseplants. So the only ones that are really going to be, quote, hardy would be the high five green fingers. And then this is the other of the Let's Dance hot stepper, but just having fun. And so with those little terracotta pots, I can bring them inside, use them as house plants in the wintertime. If they've got the caladium or the broalia in there, of course, those are going to be annuals, no big deal. We can save the, you know, dump them out at the end of the season and then save those containers for somebody else. But just a great collection here. This is one of definitely my favorite beds because of all the different colors and textures. This is a shade garden for sure, especially on this side. Gets morning sun and then goes in complete shade in the afternoon. If you notice any spots where there are some broken plants or smushed plants, that would be because there's a rabbit that enjoys hiding out in this garden. And as most of you know, we have a very large German Shepherd, and she loves to chase the rabbit. And once the nose goes, she loses all brain cells and all she does is chase the rabbit, which oftentimes does not end up well for my garden. So real life gardening here, friends, I tell you, I'm like, if a plant can survive my garden with the German Shepherd, I bet it can survive yours as well. And then coming on over here to the Emperor One bed, lemon coral sedum all the way down, brings in that big pop of color. We've got the opalescence phlox that is in bloom, so sweet, has a nice little sweet fragrance to it. Of course, the purple fountain grass is loving this area. And then this is the Nova Pearl Penstemon. Beautiful, pure white flowers, another Creekside champion. I planted these as quartz. You can see how much they have grown. Beautiful, nice, thick, gorgeous foliage with those pure white blooms on it is doing really, really well. And then the barberries. So this is Sunjoy Citrus, a great, nice pop of color for me here. And yeah, the rabbits are leaving that one alone, so thank goodness for that. And then, again, keeping it real for you, I forgot to put my hose up, so you're going to see my hose is out here. But let's just talk about this space right quick. One, yes, I need to deadhead my roses. I know, life gets lifing. So, but they are doing well. And then back in the back, the Quickfire Fab hydrangeas, planted these last year, and they were 3 gallons when I planted them. This is what I wanted. The tea olives, my beautiful bright evergreen, that was going to be that privacy, that height. Then we're going to layer it with the Quickfire Fab hydrangeas, right? So beautiful, pure white panicles, nice kind of an early bloom, so they all tie in. Down there we've got the lilac, that's the Bloomerang dark purple, does great for us, clearly full sun, you know, North Carolina zone 8A, loving life. And then with the roses in the front of that, and then the unplugged So Blue salvia, and then the Aromagica purple heliotrope. So layer upon layer upon layer. And then right here around the fountain, we have got two little lime punches, and then in the middle we have the pufferfish. So those are all, they're just rocking and rolling and doing really well with what they're doing. And then of course the Japanese maple with that dark, dark foliage, gorgeous. If you, oh, buttonbush, look at Sugar Shack. Sugar Shack, I say this is like the coolest bloom on a plant. This is a native shrub. It loves the wetter, damper conditions, which is this little spot because of the irrigation. That's what this is. I actually have to kind of like keep it cut back a little bit because it just is getting mammoth. Proven Winner Color Choice Shrubs has just come out with a more tighter, compact Sugar Shack. I think it's Sugar Shack 2.0 or something like that. So maybe I'll try to wrestle this one out and transplant it somewhere else and bring in the more petite one. I don't know, we'll see. But it is loving life. If you think that hydrangeas cannot be fragrant, let me introduce to you Little Quickfire. And as Emily said yesterday, she was like, this is not so little. No, it's not. It too loves this spot, but I don't care. She gets to get as big as she wants. But Little Quickfire is a panicle hydrangea. But if you'll notice, the blooms are very, very light and airy. This would be considered like a lace cap panicle. So it's very light, very airy. The fragrance is divine, very sweet. But also what happens, oh Jerry, can you come over here if he doesn't move? So we've got a little friend hanging on. Can you see him over here? Got a little friend hanging on the flowers here. I guarantee you the reason that he is hanging out right there is because this hydrangea is a massive pollinator attractor. When the sun comes out, it is going to literally be humming with bees and pollinators of all shapes and sizes. Little Quickfire, adore this. The white Rose of Sharon, this is the chiffon white, and so beautiful double white bloom on it. It too loves this spot, so I have to keep her contained, but that's all right because when we're sitting on the back porch between the Rose of Sharon, the hydrangea, and then the viburnums, this gives us beautiful privacy right here. Not that anybody lives back there, but it gives us that feeling of being nooked in and nice and secure. And then of course you get all of these gorgeous blooms. Loving it. Throughout this entire area, we have got the Super Petunia Vista Cool Jazz. Yes, my friends, they are massive. Again, remember, your vistas, not only are going to spread, but you're going to get height on them. Jerry is a big, huge fan of color. He loves color, so this definitely satisfies him. And then, of course, the Cleome. We love the Cleome. This is the Senorita Rosalita with that beautiful pink. There are two plants here. This is actually one plant. The other one has kind of fallen over in the wind. And then the roses, but coming through, like you can see, Cool Jazz, she's doing good. I am gonna have to come in here and do a little bit of pruning to get her out of my camellias, but that's all right. It is what it is, not a problem, giving us that nice big pop of beautiful color. And talking about big pop of beautiful color, the Incrediballs. Incrediball hydrangeas, y'all, they are just magnificent. We planned this hedge after seeing kind of that famous picture at the Proven Winner Color Choice Shrubs garden of this massive, huge, it's probably like 30 or 40 feet long of Incrediballs. I don't have that space. So what I did is we have 5 of them in here. In case you're wondering how it got its name, this bloom is about the size of my head. Look at that. They are huge. They're gorgeous. We love these smooth hydrangeas. Great native hydrangea, massive color specific blooms. We have had a good bit of wind and rain, and I know they're not perfectly perky, but by golly, they're pretty darn good. And when you've got a head this big, It's just so impressive. And again, it's more light and airy, and so the bees have just been all over these hydrangeas. So Incrediballs, great thing is they bloom on new growth, so every late winter we give them a good trim, do really, really well. We had the chiffon white. Here is the chiffon blue. Beautiful, kind of a blue lavender color. It is in a tree form. We bought it that way, and just doing really well, as are the deck boxes. I'll let Jerry kind of zoom in there as he can, but those deck boxes, really fun, filled in with lots of different annuals. Some are new introductions, like that Super Bell, but then just filling in with a lot of my favorite, you know, annuals for color, height, texture, you name it, there you go. And then moving on to the backyard. So in the backyard, with the Incrediballs, in front of the Incrediballs, we have the double play doozy spireas. So the double play doozy spirea is a sterile spirea. Oh, there went a rabbit. I'm telling you, they're everywhere. So these are gorgeous sterile spireas, do a nice, like a raspberry colored bloom on them, darker foliage. They bloom on new growth, so every late winter I shear them back. This is tons of new growth for them. The pollinators love it. Who had never had any little babies sprout up with this. So I love the thickness and the fullness of this space. We did the Supertunia Bordeaux this year back here, along with purple fountain grass and then the sun patience. This is purple candy. So this little area is doing really well. This particular spot is not on irrigation. The Incrediballs and the spireas are on irrigation, drip irrigation, run once a day for about 15 minutes or so. And then the backyard beds as well. Gatsby Glow Ball. So new introduction from Improve Your Winter Color Choice Shrubs. A sun tolerant oak leaf hydrangea. So Glow Ball is going to be more petite, but not the blooms. Look at that. Huge, huge, thick blooms. All of this is new foliage. Like all of this is new growth, doing, I mean, really, really well. It does get some filtered shade because of the cherry tree in the late afternoon. Is on irrigation once a day, 15 minutes. There you go. With your oak leaves, of course, we don't want to prune them, right? And then we have repeated the double play doozies on this side as well, with the Bordeaux going around. I do want to walk you around the back side of this bed. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but we're going to come over here right quick. So here in these two backyard beds, we have a collection of daylilies. And Miss Wanda's probably dying right now because I haven't come in here and deadheaded. But I got all of these daylilies from dear sweet friends of ours who have a massive collection of gorgeous daylilies. And they were cleaning out some of their gardens, and they, Miss Wanda said, Jenny, I think these would be great for you. So please do not ask me what the varieties are because I don't remember. But they're all different. They are all beautiful. When I was back here last year, I did divide these. So I have multiples of them, but they're like in little groups, right? So that's the great thing about daylilies. You get tons and tons of beautiful flowers. I know people who battle deer say that the deer unfortunately do enjoy a good daylily. Thankfully, we do not have that problem. And then look though right here. Oh, the Rocksteady Vitex. So Rocksteady Vitex, a chase tree, has started to bloom, y'all. And then paired with this, she's not quite opened yet this morning, this double kind of peachy colored daylily is just beautiful. But look at all of those blooms. So I have started to prune it to come into more of a tree form. This will be a small tree eventually. This is one that I started from a court. So it was a new introduction. We did not have it available, so I went up and grabbed a quart from the online store, put it in a pot, grew it in that summer, and then Jackson and I planted it, and that would be, I think, 2 years ago. And there you go. So gorgeous plant, and will bloom for weeks and weeks, and even dare say months on end on that one. Yep. All right, again, messes and successes, my friend. So in this backyard bed, I have got 3 summerific lilac crushes, hibiscus. And I came over the other day after the beach, and we had had that windstorm, that rainstorm that I told you about. And y'all, the entire plant on this side, the wind had got it and laid it down. I mean, it was like down. So what I did is I went ahead and cut these guys back. These guys, they're full of, oh look, we have one that's trying to open up. Full of buds. We got a bloom that's trying to, she's a little squished. There we go. Full of buds, getting ready just to throw out all the color. And I was so frustrated because of the wind. So they are kind of propped up so that I can enjoy them. It is what it is. And as we come along, more butterfly candy. This is coconut. Coconut, I think, tends to be a little bit of a later bloomer. Pure white, gorgeous. Yep, so there you go, everybody. The backyard. All right, we have covered the entire property here. So let's head to the berm. Here we are on the house side of the berm. Coming down on the end, and we're gonna work our way up. You were with me as I have been training this puffer fish into more of a, I don't even call it a tree form, I'm just limbing it up because I want my October Magic Ruby Camellias to be able to shine. And I think I have done a pretty darn good job, right? So it is multi-trunked down there, but you'll notice that there's like one little sprig that's trying to regrow. But just limbing it up, have all the gorgeous flowers that are clearly going to be massive this year up there at the top, and then the camellias can have room to kind of reach out, because if I had not done that, yes, I planted things close. I want it full. We're going to adapt, friends. So if not, pufferfish would be way out here and on top of my camellias. So good success on that. Pink Cascade 2 at that same time. We whacked it. Look at this. Now the Cascades tend to be a later bloomer, right? So Pink Cascade 2, massive, huge blooms, soft baby doll pink. You saw me prune it. Everybody, I mean, like it is gorgeous all the way around. So all of this has filled in. Remember, there's kind of a hole right here. Look at all that beautiful new growth. So they are doing really well. And then you were with us just earlier this week when we planted the Southern Living plants in here. We have run the irrigation every day for about 25 minutes. It's drip irrigation, and they're holding their own, which is really good considering we planted hydrangeas in late June in North Carolina. So everyone, you know, once in a while, like this little guy, we probably need to come give some extra water to, because it's in the morning and it looks a little dry, so we need to go ahead and water that. But we have got blooms on the summerific Holy Grail. They are clearly very happy. They had all the irrigation on them, and so they have gotten nice and big. Of course, they've been in here for ever since we did the berm, so what, 4 or 5 years. Beautiful red, and now that they started to bloom, they're just going to continue blooming the entire summer long. And then the hydrangeas up here, these are the Quickfire Fab as well. So we've got 3 on this side, just beautiful, nice height to them. Kind of give you a bit of a reference, right? I'm 5'2", there we go. Just absolutely gorgeous. Nice, tight, compact blooms on them. Nice, strong, sturdy stems. Not floppy. Love it. Quickfire Fab. It is a great one. And then we're going to move up here to the woodland garden on this side. So in preparation for the big Southern Living Roadshow event that's happening actually today when you see this video, wanted to get things neat and tidy. And of course, my mama, Mimi, is the queen of dry shade gardens. So she does love to work in the gardens. And so I was like, Mama, can I enlist you to take care of this garden? And she said, absolutely. So for the past couple of days, she has spent time in here and has done a great job. Just making things neat and tidy. She's come in and planted some annuals in here. You've got the dragon wing begonias. You have got, of course, the hostas have been here. I think that's the Viking XL begonia in there as well. Added an Elysium up there by the rock. Of course, my favorite, Endless Illumination Broalia, is in here. There is a drip irrigation in this bed. It has been a bit of a challenge because water is always a challenge when you're irrigating. There's always something that's breaking or not working correctly. But anyway, so all things considered, the bed is doing really well. So a huge thanks to Mimi for making it look even better and making it nice and neat and tidy. One hydrangea, if you do have a dry shade garden and you're looking for a great oak leaf, try Ruby Slippers. Ruby Slippers has been on the market for years and years, very widely known, very popular, tends to be more compact. So we have a mass planting right here. This gets hot afternoon sun, and you can see they're already starting to take on that pink hue. And Ruby Slippers, even in North Carolina, will get a lovely pinky red, which can be hard for us, but they are doing really well. Very happy with them, as are, again, surefire white begonias in the urns. When we planted these, I told you I was inspired from our trip at Mackinac Island when we were one of the keynote speakers at the Proven Winners show up there and the Grand Garden Show. One of the houses had 2 urns and just filled with begonias. And I love that. So we did the surefire whites right here. Of course, there's one on the other side as well. And it's just, they make a huge impact, low maintenance, easy peasy. And then the sign bed, as we call it, is doing really well. Classic Annabelle hydrangeas right here. We've got Weigelas in here. We've got Japanese maples. More of the surefire white for some pops of that annual color. Eucharas. These are, of course, the reblooming Macrophylla hydrangeas. This is lovable in here. So everything is doing super, super good. And yeah, I just could not be happier, but I wanted to give you a little update on how this garden is doing. Now, we're gonna make our way down this wind. Ladies, as you could attest to, when you got long hair in the wind, oh my goodness. Jerry's like, honey, you're fine, but it feels like it's like a Medusa over here. So going down on the nursery side of the berm, filled with trees, shrubs, perennials. No annuals in this bed, and my goodness, everything is doing really well. We've been in here multiple times, tweaking things, showing you things, adding, subtracting, because as gardens, they're always changing and you're always having to adapt and change some things. Still more of the quick fire fab hydrangeas. We repeat those on both sides. Phenomenal lavender. Now you may say that she's leaning a little bit. Yes, she is. Probably because she's under the maple tree, not getting full direct top sun. I don't care. She's gorgeous. She smells good. The honeybees love it. Your phenomenal lavender is just, it truly is phenomenal. Sunjoy Neo barberries here in front of the Thunderhead pine. Y'all, when you talk about plants getting, taking priority, this tree takes the priority. I love this fun, funky Japanese black pine. It is so cool. It clearly loves this spot. So there will be no pruning of this tree. This tree gets to decide how big it wants to be, and everybody will be moved according to that specifications of how this tree does. But love this. And then of course going through, so we had the daisies. They're on their way out, right? So yes, we absolutely can come through here and deadhead them, clean them up, make them look better. Hopefully we can do that before Saturday. Summerifics, again, we have that Holy Grail. We have it on one side, we have it on this side. The Hydrangeas, they definitely can go ahead and get pruned. This is Vino Verde. Your Hydrangeas bloom on old growth, so they have bloomed. So now would be a perfect time to come in and clean them up, shape them up so you can see the daylilies that are behind it. This is Blood, Sweat, and Tears in here, so definitely a gorgeous one. Beautiful, nice, thick, very happy in this space. This was just the classic Daisy May, and then the Nepeta. This was the Chartreuse on the loose, I believe it was. I thought it actually had petered out, and there was just a couple of little sprigs. I left those sprigs. There you go. Do what? Sometimes you just have to walk away, and that is true. And then there's alliums in there as well. Little Lime Punch comes through on each side. The Pugster Pinkers here, they are just coming in to their own with their beautiful, nice, thick, beautiful pink blooms. And, and then the Barberries. So this is Sunjoy Orange Pillar, thank you, and beautiful underneath the purple plum tree as well. There you go. So nice upright on those guys. Again, repeating that with the Little Lime Punches right here. Then we come into the next section, the Daylilies, more of the Holy Grail, repeating those, y'all, repeating it for the interest. And then you were also with me when we were in here, and I had my Winecraft Gold. It died back, like I lost a whole section. And you sweet people who are in colder zones, you're like, Jenny, don't worry about it. Happens all the time to us. You can either leave what's there because we had new growth coming up, or shear it all the way back. Probably, honestly, I wish I had sheared it all the way back because it kind of drives me crazy. Like the two different tiers drives me a little nuts, but you know what? Next year, I know. And then I'm going to show you the bed. We're making our way to the garden center. I'll give you a quick little update on this bed. Y'all, I planted this last spring, probably about this time last year. And oh my heavens, like talk about a great success. This has done so well. It is on drip irrigation that runs once a day. Currently, it has not been running for a couple of weeks because we got yet another irrigation break that Jerry has to fix. But this requires digging up the middle of the road. So it's gonna take a minute. Feather Falls Carex. If you have a part sun garden and you are not growing Feather Falls Carex, you are missing out on the most gorgeous evergreen grass, beautiful weeping habit. This will get full sun in the morning, goes in the shade in the afternoon, so it's very sun tolerant even in the southeast. Beautiful grass, I mean stunning. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. 5 here, I've got 3 down on the other end. If I had known that they were going to be as happy as they are, I would have spread them out more. I had no idea they were going to love this spot so much, but they do. And then of course the Aurelia Sun King behind them as well. Just yesterday I did add 2 zebra hydrangeas here because last year we had Pegasus begonia back here, and obviously that's going to be an annual, it doesn't come back. So I wanted to add something different, and you know how much I love my zebra hydrangea. So this great Macrophylla hydrangea, pure white flowers with black stems, beautiful. Be like a 4 to 5 tall and wide. So added 2 of those yesterday, doing really well. And then the entrance bed over here on this side, that too is part of on that same irrigation zone. So we were running it every day right after we planted it, and was really getting the plants established, but again has not run in, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks or a little bit more, but everything is doing well. They're holding their own. So we've got, of course, the lobelia. We have got the new coleus that will be a new introduction with proven winners next year. Freckles, I believe. And so it is doing well. And then coming on down, we have got the watermelon ruffles. Beautiful. Probably, I have to say, would be my favorite perennial hibiscus. Watermelon ruffles, beautiful watermelon pink, ruffly flower. I mean, there's really original with their, you know exactly what you're gonna get with this guy. And then you've got the avovulus down here. And then these are flowerful hydrangeas. We went ahead and planted these last year, a beautiful reblooming, not reblooming, smooth hydrangea, blooms every year. You prune them back and they do great. Love these guys. And then yet some more quick fire fab. Can you tell that we love quick fire fab? It's such a great hydrangea. They too are getting ready to absolutely explode in color. So they are doing well here too. Alrighty, let's move to the signature garden. All right, let's take a tour of the signature garden here at Creekside Nursery. Coming through, it has done so well. We have been very pleased. Thank goodness this year we have not had any natural disasters or problems, and everybody is just thriving. So we have got in the front, right, we always do a mass planting of the same annual, right, whatever it is. So this year it was the Supertunia Hoopla Vivid Orchid. Really fun, variegated, has that nice raspberry pink center with that thick white edging on it all the way down. And they have done really, really well. Behind those, of course, are the Sprinter boxwoods. They give us that nice evergreen structure. Behind those, directly behind those, are the Little Lime Punch hydrangea. And y'all, can you just notice right here as we look down, notice how the hydrangeas and the boxwoods are just kissing each other? That was the exact plan. That is what I wanted. I wanted them to be just touching one another, but they still have plenty of room to grow and be their own structure. So there you go. And then the Superbena Cobalt, right? So a nice, beautiful blue, purple verbena. We did the corners. We kept it really simple this year as far as the planting through here, because I know that these hydrangeas, they are going to absolutely shine and steal the show when they begin blooming. And then it's got to be one of my top 3 favorite petunias. Relatively new, the Supertunia Mini Vista Plum Veined. This is such a beautiful, I mean, the only thing that we've done to it is Cece came in and trimmed just the front of it just last week, just to keep it so that it would be a little bit tighter so you could see the wall. And that is it. We have not pruned these this year. Just gorgeous. And of course the other bed is going to be the exact same way, because we want these 2 beds to mirror one another and to be the same. And so they are planted the exact same. But my gosh, now I'm not gonna lie, it was a struggle to keep the water on these annuals when we first planted. We were in the middle of a drought. These are specifically not on irrigation. We had to bring in the hose and water. Honestly, I wasn't sure if they were going to make it. Clearly they did, and they are very, very happy. And then as we move to the front of the garden, like the center of the garden, I mean, just take a little gander. She's doing great. Kind of the colors as far as the annuals this year, I wanted to kind of go with the pinks and the oranges, just to do something different. So all 4 of these inner beds are planted the exact same. So you've got the Diamond Frost in the very front behind the benches. Next up behind that is the Cerveza and Lime. Technically, the Cerveza and Lime should be taller. We'll see how that goes. We're all still figuring things out, y'all. Nobody has it perfect. And then we have the Truffle of Pink Gumfrina, the Senorita Rosalita Cleome, Torchlight Coleus there between it. And then on the back side, we have the Rockin' Fuchsia Salvia. Because I was trying to, you see these beds from 360 degrees. So my idea would be that this is one plant, this is one Cleome, that this of course would be the tallest going down the center, and then I went down from there. So the Rocking fuchsia salvia is a huge pollinator attractor. The bumblebees love it, the honeybees love it, and then of course the hummingbirds go nuts. And then we have the campfire flame Bidens, nice orange. They are doing really well. If they go through the entire summer, amazing. If they start to peter out in the heat of the summer, we're gonna switch it out and put the orange portulaca in here. So we still have that same color. And then of course the 4 outer beds are perennials and shrubs. So a mixture of things, right? So you've got double play doozy spirea, you've got baptisia, you've got amsonia, monarda, the loropetalum, we've got the, that's the bold, yes. Then you've got gardenias in here. This is pillatalk. Each bed will have a hibiscus, a summerific hibiscus, and then they each have a hydrangea. She's supposed to be petite. This is, I don't remember. I should know what it is. It's pretty bad that I don't, but I don't. I don't remember. It's a panicle hydrangea. How about that? And then, let's see, over here. Let's do a little update quick over here because this bed too is less than a year old. With the wind, of course, we knew this was going to happen today. With the wind, we have got sticks. So let me grab this and get this off this loropetalum right quick. Throw that over there. So this bed is less than a year old. We completely revamped this flower bed. We have had problems with raccoons coming in at night and digging in the soil for grubs and all that kind of stuff. And I tell you that because one of those areas was where the Skyview hydrangeas are. And there was multiple times where you could see the complete root system of these hydrangeas. So for them to look this great after not even 1 year being in the ground and then being practically dug up by raccoons on a repetitive basis, they're doing great. This is mop top buddleia. That is the new butterfly bush from Proven Winner Color Choice Shrubs, a cascading, blooms on old growth. My gosh, y'all, this is a very happy plant. And this is one that I also started from a quart. So there you go, my friends. You can see how gorgeous that is. We've got the Incrediball Stormproof. Y'all, all the names, they start to get to me after a little bit. Now, you may look at these 2 dahlias and you're like, why in the world did you plant 2 dahlias right there? Well, that was last year, right? So this is that Virtuoso Pinkerific dahlia. Last year in this bed, we had the dahlias all throughout here. This went through construction, new soil added, all sorts of things. The tubers obviously got left in there. So when you ask, are the dahlias from Proven Winners, are they perennial? Well, yes, they absolutely can be. And y'all, they're just too pretty. I just don't have the heart to pull them out. So that's why we have some random dahlias right here. And then the roses, Rise Up Amberness, doing really well. For whatever reason, the Atlas roses, they are on the struggle bus. Just keeping it real with you. And then coming on through, yeah, I mean, everybody is doing well. More of the Gatsby glow balls, azaleas, easy peasy roses. And then our Emily says that these are her hydrangeas because she was the one that requested that we plant this Incrediball hedge. So these Incrediballs, again, not even a year in the ground. They are not on irrigation because the irrigation stops back there. So in the early spring when we were in the drought, between Cece and Mimi, they kept these watered. And so again, the first year they sleep, they creep, and then they leap. So first year, keep them alive. So we are being quite successful on that, so very happy with that. And then we've talked about this before with the Aphrodite sweet shrub. This is a great native shrub, but y'all, if you plant an Aphrodite, you're gonna have to give her some room to grow. She can get 6 to 10 feet tall and wide. I actually had to prune it just very selectively late last summer because she had some rogue limbs. But look at this beautiful deep ruby red flower. It smells sweet. It is a beautiful, great native shrub. It is deciduous, but you can see like no bug damage. We don't have Japanese beetles on it. If it's Japanese beetle proof, then it is a winner in my book for sure. We have another rock steady right here, and then we have the tough stuff hydrangeas. Now last year we planted these last year, so they've been in the ground for a year. Your serrata hydrangeas bloom on old growth, and it was a rough winter. Like, we had a very cold winter for a sustained amount of time, and they're not blooming. It's okay. We have one, maybe 2 or 3 down here that are blooming, but again, I go for longevity. I know that in time, once these get established and get nice and strong, then they will have no problem. You know, they're not on irrigation, but they get their name Tough Stuff for a reason. Again, the foliage is absolutely gorgeous. No damage on it from bugs or critters or anything like that. Yeah, okay, Jerry doesn't know this. This is a little random. So remember in the spring when this massive oak tree fell and it went all the way to that Japanese maple over there? So Jackson and Jerry came in here and cleaned it up. It was amazing because we only lost 1 or 2 plants, and that was, I think, more in the cleanup process than the actual tree itself. So this tree actually originates on the other side of the creek bank. So we left it like this because it's so massive that we can't get it out right now. But I also love how it looks, right? So I have ordered a tree face to go right here because I was like, this is so fun and whimsical. So I have a great little, you know how you have like the eyes and the nose and the mouth? We have them already throughout the property. They're kind of like little hidden gems, but this one should be quite obvious. So I think it's coming today because I thought, how fun would that be to have like a little old man with his little face right there? I thought that would be really cute. Quick little update here, limelight hydrangeas. Of course, they're a later bloomer, and these are a little bit more shadier, so they take their time. But the fluffies, look at that. The old fluffies are doing great. Neck behind the, or in front of rather, the North Poles, doing great there as well. And then more of the Incrediball stormproofs. So those were 4 of those guys right there doing well. No irrigation back here. And then of course, again, y'all, full disclosure. So where Jerry is standing, there is an empty spot right here. And we were going to, if he'll slide around so he can show you no, because we keep it real here. So the plan is that we intentionally put the stormproofs here, and we have the limelights right here, so we have this empty space right here, and we were going to fill it with annuals. Well, this spring we were in a severe drought, no irrigation, talking about the very back of the property, and we just made the call. You know what? We said we're not going to put annuals there because it's more work than right now that we knew that we could attend to. So we left it blank. But in the future, if we have a quote normal season where those plants can get established in the early spring, then they can handle it throughout the summer. And so that's why we did not put the annuals there. And then our team has done an amazing job getting everything neat and tidy. We've got the Coosa dogwoods, the fairy trail brides. Of course, you were with me when we planted like Lenten roses. This is a new garden that we're developing. And so again, neat and tidy. You don't have to have it filled, jam-packed all the time. That's the fun, is like you discover plants and you add them in. But like I said, our team has done a magnificent job. You can see them maybe even there in the back, getting things neat and tidy, just cleaning everything up. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. Let's see. Is there anything else? Did I miss anything? Other than like the rain garden? Let's go hit that right quick. Come on. So as we make our way to the wetland garden, give you a quick little update. Glitters and Glows by Berm, doing great. Look at those Vermillionaire, right? We did a mass planting back there. The hummingbirds love it. Doing really well. I wanted something that would be like fill in, give us again that nice orange color, because we're going with that pink and orange. Looking at it from this direction, right? Because the Glitters and Glows, as they mature, they should form like they should kiss each other, because they're gonna be like 4 to 5 feet tall and wide. Never have pruned them. I just let them do their thing, and then there you go. And then coming on through back here, you'll notice our lovely umbrella. Mimi has been protecting these are new hydrangeas in here, so sometimes in the heat of the summer, they need a little break. That was the Tough Stuff Top Fun in there. And then, yeah, so quick little update. This garden historically stays wet because there are springs through here, so when we get rain, it stays pretty wet and soggy. So that's why we were planting it, kind of thinking of that in mind. There are messes and successes in here, my friend. There are plants that are absolutely thriving. There are some that are struggling. I thought maybe they would do well, but you know, maybe they're not. So you've got like Cheyenne Sky grasses in here. You have got the cookies and cream summerific hibiscus, so black with white foliage. You've got the yes, sorry, what did I say? White foliage. White, oh sorry, it's my brain, y'all, it's about done. Black foliage, white flowers. There we go, cookies and cream. This is a baby Joe pieweed. Clearly it loves it, right? This was 3 of them in here, or 2 of them. I can't tell if it's 2 or 3. They have gotten big. Of course, Joe pieweed, great for your butterfly population, doing well. But yeah, just give you a quick little update on how everybody's doing in here. Again, messes and successes all the time. But a quick, let's just end right here. Look, Incrediball blush. So color specific hydrangea, blush pink. Again, pollinators love this. Nice kind of open, airy habit on the blooms that they just go nuts over. And so doing really well in the garden. So overall, could not be happier with how all the gardens are doing, right? There's always messes and successes. That is part of gardening. But if you choose to focus on what's on the successes rather than the messes, it does tend to make life a little bit more enjoyable. And of course, these gardens would not be possible without the entire Creekside team. I never ever want it to seem like I'm the one managing all of this. There's no way that one person can do this. It is a definite team effort around here, and everybody takes pride in these gardens just as much as Jerry and I do. So we are incredibly thankful for our team here at Creekside for all the love and dedication and the blood, sweat, and tears that they put into these gardens as well. And so we do these videos so that it is informative and inspirational and fun for you. So if you see one plant in these tours and you're like, that's a really cool plant, then I consider it a massive success for you to find a plant or to learn a new little tidbit. But if you are in the area, the gardens here at the nursery are always open, free of charge. When the garden center is open, you are more than welcome to come and explore Wednesdays through Saturdays, 9 to 3. The only day we see that we're going to be closed is Saturday, July the 4th. We're taking the July 4th off, my friends. Go and celebrate. You can come plant shopping the other time, but the 4th, we're going to have some fun celebrating. So we will see you on all of those days, minus July 4th. Y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video.